In the small, quiet town of Greenfield, there was a huge and strange house called the Hawthorne Villa. This big house, with lots of windows and weird towers, was very famous in the town. It belonged to Mrs. Lydia Foster, a kind but very private old lady. People said the house had magic.
Lydia, whose husband Charles Foster made toys that all kids loved, lived alone in this giant house. After Charles went away, the house started to look really strange.
Everyone in Greenfield talked about the odd noises and lights they saw from the house at night. They thought Lydia believed that the house was full of the spirits of kids who couldn't find peace. To help these spirits, Lydia kept making her house bigger and bigger. She built more and more rooms, making the house like a big puzzle that was hard to understand. It had doors that opened to walls, and stairs that didn't go anywhere.
Lydia never stopped working on her house, and it just kept getting bigger, making everyone in Greenfield wonder more and more about it.
In Greenfield, a new face appeared one sunny day. His name was Jack Carter, a brave and curious boy with a love for adventure. Jack had heard many stories about the Hawthorne Villa and its mysteries. He had always been interested in ghost stories and mysterious places, and the villa was the most mysterious of all in Greenfield.
Jack decided he wanted to see the villa for himself. He wanted to know if the stories about the spirits and the strange lights were true. Walking through the town, he asked the locals about Mrs. Foster and her big odd house. Most people just shook their heads and said it was a place of secrets.
Finally, Jack reached the villa. It was even bigger and stranger than he had imagined. He knocked on the huge front door, half expecting a ghost to answer. Instead, the door opened, and there stood Mrs. Lydia Foster. She was a small, elderly lady with a kind smile.
Jack introduced himself and told her about his interest in the villa. Mrs. Foster listened carefully, then invited him in. She said she could tell him stories about the spirits. Jack was thrilled. He stepped inside, feeling excited and a little bit nervous about what he might discover in the Hawthorne Villa.
That night, Jack got ready to sleep in a small room that Mrs. Foster had prepared for him. The room was filled with old toys and puzzles, and the wooden floor creaked when he walked. Jack was too excited to sleep. He lay in bed, listening for any strange sounds that might tell him the stories of the villa were true.
As the clock struck midnight, the house became very quiet. Then, Jack heard a soft whispering sound. It seemed to come from down the hall. Jack's heart beat faster with excitement. He got out of bed, grabbed a flashlight, and slowly opened his door.
The hallways of the villa were like a maze. Jack followed the whispers, turning left and right through the winding corridors. The walls were lined with old paintings, and the air felt cool and still.
Finally, he reached a room that was different from the rest. It was filled with the most amazing old toys he had ever seen. There were wooden soldiers, puzzles, and model ships. Then, Jack felt a chill. He saw a shadow move across the wall, even though there was no one there. He knew he wasn't alone. Jack stood still, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. This was the moment he had been waiting.
The next morning, Jack rushed to tell Mrs. Foster about the shadows and whispers he experienced during the night. She listened carefully, nodding her head as if she already knew. Mrs. Foster then shared with Jack a fascinating story about the spirits in the villa.
She explained that these spirits were of children who had once loved playing with the toys her husband, Charles, created. She believed that the spirits came to the villa because they missed those toys and the joy they brought.
Mrs. Foster told Jack that her mission was to help these spirits find peace. She thought that by building new rooms and filling them with toys, she could make the spirits happy. Jack was amazed by her story. He had never met anyone who believed so strongly that they could help ghosts.
Jack spent the day exploring the villa, looking at the toys and thinking about the spirits. He started to feel a special connection to the house and the mysterious stories it held. He was no longer just a curious boy. He was now a part of the villa's story, eager to help Mrs. Foster and the spirits.
Jack decided to spend one more night in the Hawthorne Villa. He had a plan. Remembering what Mrs. Foster said about the spirits loving toys, he picked some of the oldest, most interesting toys from the collection: a wooden puzzle, a small painted horse, and a toy soldier.
As night fell, Jack set up the toys in his room. He waited, watching the clock. When it struck midnight, the whispers started again, just like the night before. But this time, Jack was ready. He held out the toys, towards the sound of the whispers.
Suddenly, the room filled with a soft, warm light. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. He saw the shapes of children, like see-through shadows, playing with the toys. They looked happy and at peace, their laughter echoing like a gentle melody. The ghostly children played for a short while, and then, as if a wind had blown through the room, they were gone.
The room felt different now, calm and peaceful. Jack knew something special had happened. He had helped the spirits find a little bit of joy, just as Mrs. Foster had hoped. He fell asleep that night feeling happy and content, knowing he had made a difference in the mysterious world of the Hawthorne villa.
The next morning, Jack couldn't wait to tell Mrs. Foster about what he had seen. He found her in the kitchen, making breakfast. As he shared his story, her eyes twinkled with joy. She was so happy to hear that the spirits had played with the toys and found happiness.
Mrs. Foster and Jack talked over breakfast about the spirits and the villa. They both believed that the happy spirits had found peace and had moved on to a better place. Mrs. Foster thanked Jack for his help and his brave heart.
After breakfast, it was time for Jack to go back home. He said goodbye to Mrs. Foster and the Hawthorne villa. As he walked away, he looked back at the big, mysterious house. He felt proud and happy. He had not only discovered the truth about the villa, but had also helped make a difference. Back in Greenville, Jack told his friends all about his adventure. They were amazed by his story.
The Hawthorne villa was still a big, odd house, but now it felt like a happy place, filled with good memories.
Jack would always remember his time at the villa, and the kind old lady who taught him that even the most mysterious places could be filled with kindness and joy. In the nice town of Silverwood, surrounded by a vast, strange forest, tales of ghost stories stirred the air. Tom, a young, brave journalist with a strong curiosity, was drawn to these stories, determined to uncover the forest's secrets. He envisioned a fascinating story for his readers. Entering the forest, Tom felt a strong mix of excitement and nervousness. The tall trees murmured secrets, and every twig snap echoed, intensifying his anticipation. He was venturing into a world covered in mystery, unaware of the dark truths awaiting. Rumors of unknown disappearances and night attacks had spread among the villagers. These tales, spoken in quiet, scared tones, fueled Tom's determination to go deeper. He was about to start on a journey that would reveal more than just hidden tales. One that would lead him to face a scary reality, and challenge everything he believed about the mysterious Silverwood forest. Tom's journey led him deeper into the forest, where he stumbled upon a strange, deserted house, its structure covered with vines. Inside, he found an old diary, covered in dust and long forgotten. The diary, belonging to a man named Edward, contained amazing revelations. Edward described his changes into a wolf and the fear and shame of attacking villagers against his will. Tom's doubt gave way to a strong need to know the truth behind these scary accounts. Could these tales of a doomed man, troubled by his own uncontrolled nature, be real? The idea of a being doing harm without intention added a spooky dimension to Tom's exploration. Compelled to find out the truth of these claims, he went deeper into the heart of the forest, each step bringing him closer to solving a mystery that mixed the lines between man and myth. Tom felt a mix of fear and curiosity as he read. The diary told a tale of sadness and struggle, of a man fighting a battle within himself. Edward's story was not just about being a wolf, but about the fight between his human heart and wild nature. This battle seemed almost impossible, but it was very real for Edward. As Tom read each page, he felt a growing connection to Edward's plight. The diary was like a window into a soul torn between two worlds. This discovery was not just a step in his investigation, but a journey into understanding a life vastly different from his own. As the full moon cast its silver glow over the forest, it transformed into a world of strange beauty. Tom, driven by the diary's revelations, waited with held breath for any magical occurrence. A scary cry shattered the silence, announcing the appearance of a wolf-like creature. This was no ordinary wolf. Standing on two legs with human-like eyes, it bore a troubled look, reflecting a deep, silent pain. Tom recalled Edward's diary entries, the pain over his unintended attacks. Could this be the same doomed being? Tom followed the wolf man, his emotions a storm of thrill and fear. Was he pursuing a monster or a sufferer of a harsh curse? The chase led him through the dark forest, each step taking him deeper into a story that tied together the threads of fear, mystery, and a quest for truth. Following the wolf man, Tom moved through the thick bushes, each scratch from the branches strengthening his resolve. The creature moved with elegance that opposed its scary form, easily blending into the forest's shadows. Their chase ended at a hidden cave, its entrance a doorway to the unknown. Inside, the tense atmosphere was noticeable. Tom watched, heart pounding. As the wolf man changed back into a human, it was Edward. His expression a mix of tiredness and comfort. Edward's human eyes showed a deep sadness, showing the weight of his curse, and the grief for the harm he had caused. Sharing his story, he conveyed his deep regret and desire for a cure. Tom, deeply moved, saw beyond the journalist-subject dynamic. They were now allies in a quest for salvation. This unexpected alliance marked the beginning of a journey, filled with difficulties and findings, as they sought to free Edward from his suffering, and prevent further misfortune. As they talked, Tom realized that Edward was more than a story subject. He was a person with a tragic fate, trying to find peace. Together, they planned to search for answers, and hope in the heart of the forest. Their partnership was not just about writing a story, but about helping a friend in need. In the cave's dim light, Edward showed the full extent of his curse. He recounted his painful changes, and the accidental harm he had caused to the villagers. Tom, moved by Edward's situation, promised his assistance in finding a cure. Their connection, formed in the darkness of their shared struggles, was a mix of journalist and subject turned friends. Together, they started on a quest through the forest's depths, searching for a legendary flower said to break the strongest of curses. Their journey was a test of strength and will, each step driven by the hope of ending Edward's suffering, and preventing further harm. The forest, with its maze of trees and hidden paths, sometimes blocked and led them, as they moved through the challenges that lay in their path. Their quest was more than a search for a cure, it was a journey of understanding and compassion, as they sought to repair the hurts of the past, and create a new path. Tom and Edward journeyed together, seeking the hard-to-find flower believed to have the power to break Edward's curse. Their path took them through the wild wilderness of the forest, each day marked by a sense of urgency, as the moon grew and shrank. They faced numerous challenges, moving through steep valleys and dense bushes. Despite these obstacles, their determination never wavered, fueled by the hope of finding the cure and ending Edward's pain. Finally, in a peaceful clearing covered in moonlight, they found their goal, a flower shining with magical light, its petals sparkling like caught stars. The sight was amazing, a moment of beauty and magic amidst their tough journey. Cautiously, they picked the flower, its glow a symbol of hope in their quest. Their discovery was a critical moment, a chance to free Edward from his doomed existence, and prevent further sadness in the village. The journey brought them closer, not just as partners in search, but as friends understanding each other's worlds. Each day in the forest brought new challenges, but also new insights, as they learned more about the mysterious forces. Under the observant eye of the moon, Edward consumed the magical flower. An intense fight ensued as the curse fought back, his body caught in a changing battle. Slowly, the wolf-like features began to disappear, revealing the tired but human form of Edward. The curse was broken. Edward, free at last from the cycle of transformation and guilt, looked up with eyes filled with thankfulness and shock. He was human again, his trouble lifted. Their hug was a symbol of their shared victory, not just over the curse, but over hardship and hopelessness. Edward's freedom was proof of their perseverance, and the power of human connection. Tom wrote a story about their amazing journey, catching the heart of their adventure, while protecting Edward's secret. Edward accepted a new life, free from the darkness of his past. The story spread widely, but for Tom, the true importance lay in the memories of their shared experience, and the lasting bond that had formed. The mystical forest of Silverwood remained a place of amazement, a reminder of the incredible journey, and the deep truths discovered within its parts. In a small town named Greenville, everyone is scared. A mystery is in the town. A bad person, called the Greenville Ghost, hides and hurts people. He comes out when it is still dark, and uses a small knife. No one knows him. People in Greenville talk about the ghost. They read news about him. The police are working hard to find him. They look everywhere and ask questions. But the ghost is smart. He picks places without cameras to do bad things. All people in Greenville are scared of the ghost. They wonder who he might be. Is he a person they know? He is like a shadow at night. Families lock their doors and stay in their homes when it is dark. The police tell people to be careful. They say to call them if they see something odd. The ghost makes Greenville a scary place. People hope the police will find him soon. The Greenville police are very busy. They think the ghost is a man. They guess he is strong and knows the town well. He is smart and does not go where there are cameras. The police talk to a lot of people. They want to know if anyone saw something strange. But it is hard to find good clues. The ghost has hurt many people. The police try to guess why. They think he plans his attacks. In Greenville, people are scared but want to help. They watch the news and read papers about the ghost. Everyone wants him to stop. The police put up signs. They will give money to anyone who knows about the ghost. They hope someone can tell them important things. They want to catch the ghost fast. The Greenville ghost is still not caught. He keeps hurting more people. Greenville is full of fear. Every day, people are scared. Parents keep their kids close. They tell them to be safe. Schools teach kids to be careful. Everyone is looking for the ghost. The police work all the time. They want to make the town safe. They talk to families and search for clues. They check places where the ghost was. At night, the town is very quiet. People stay in their houses. They look outside and hope the ghost is not there. The streets are empty. The ghost has changed Greenville. But the people in Greenville are strong. They help each other. They talk about the ghost and hope for better days. They wait for the morning when the police catch the ghost. The ghost is like a bad dream. But people in Greenville know that the police will find him one day. They wait for that day. They want their town to be safe again. In Greenville, the police worked harder every day. The town was very quiet at night. People stayed inside. They were all scared of the ghost. One night, a brave boy saw a strange person near his house. The person dropped something. It was a knife. The boy told the police right away. The police looked at the knife. They found a fingerprint. This led them to a house outside of town. A quiet man lived there. He didn't talk much. He couldn't say where he was when the ghost hurt people. The police watched the man. They wanted to catch the ghost. Everyone in Greenville waited and hoped. One dark night, the man left his house with a bag. The police followed him quietly. He went to a park and took out a knife. He walked towards someone. Suddenly, police lights turned on. Many police came out. They caught the man before he could hurt the person. It was a trick by the police. The town of Greenville was happy. The ghost was caught. People thanked the police. They felt safe again. The streets were busy at night now. Everyone was happy and not scared. The mystery of the Greenville ghost was over. The town was peaceful. Kids played outside. The ghost was just a bad memory.
In a small town, there lived a writer named Samir. Samir wrote about ghost stories, but he did not believe in them. One day, he heard about a strange hotel room, number 2214, in the Alamere Hotel.
People say scary things happen in room 2214, they whispered. But Samir laughed at these stories. Driven by curiosity, he decided to spend a night in room 2214.
Upon arriving at the hotel, the manager, Mr. Kareem, looked worried. "I don't think you should stay in room 2214, he said. "It's not safe." Samir, however, did not change his mind, and went to the room.
Entering room 2214, Samir saw a normal hotel room, a bed, a table, and a window. "Nothing strange here," he said, sitting down to write notes. An hour passed quietly.
But then, odd things started happening. A clock radio turned on by itself, playing sad songs. A cold feeling filled the air, even though the windows were closed. Even the pictures on the wall changed, now showing scary faces.
Samir tried to leave, but he couldn't open the door, and the windows wouldn't break. He realized he was stuck.
Inside room 2214, the air became more frightening. The walls made strange noises, and the temperature went up and down quickly. Ghosts, looking like people who stayed there before, moved around.
Now sure of the ghosts, Samir became very scared. He tried to call Mr. Kareem, but the phone didn't work.
The night was long, with quiet voices and ghosts appearing. The room looked old and different. The bed shook, and the lights went on and off.
Samir couldn't sleep because he was too scared. He looked everywhere for a way out, but the room seemed to change, making it hard to escape.
Samir said, "I must get out of this room." He pushed hard against the door, and shouted for help, but nothing worked.
The room got worse, with broken walls and old paint. The ghosts, looking sad and angry, said he couldn't leave.
Samir was very tired. He wanted to rest, but he knew he couldn't. He checked every part of the room.
Moving things to find a secret way out, but he didn't find any. Sitting down, feeling lost, he then felt a new strong wish to leave. "I won't give up," he thought, and kept looking for a way out.
When morning came, everything was normal again. The scary room 2214 was now safe, and the door opened easily. Samir, confused but happy, quickly left.
Mr. Kareem was outside, surprised that Samir stayed all night. "Not many people do that," he said.
Back home, Samir thought about what happened. He no longer doubted ghosts.
He started writing a new book about room 2214, telling readers about the real ghosts.
Samir's book became very popular, and he became a famous writer. But he always remembered that scary night in room 2214.
In the small town of Dunbridge, everyone knew about one big, old house. The Dunbridge Mansion. This large stone house was surrounded by many trees. It looked very old, and had been there for a very long time. Its windows were tall and dark, and around the house, there was a wild garden full of tall grass and plants. Lily, 14 years old, and her younger brother Ben, 12 years old, had heard many stories about this special family house. Their parents rarely talked about it, and most of what the kids knew came from what other people in town said. This summer was different. Their parents had to go on a work trip and decided that Lily and Ben should spend their holiday in the mansion. They said it would be a good chance for the siblings to know more about their family's past. The day they arrived, the sky was gray, and there was a cool breeze. They felt both excited and a tiny bit scared. The mansion was even bigger up close. It looked ancient, with parts covered in green plants. At the front door, an old man named Mr. Higgins waited for them. He was the caretaker of the mansion and had been living there for many years. "Welcome, Lily and Ben," he said in a slow, deep voice. "The house has been waiting for you." Inside, the big entrance room was cool and a bit dark. There were old lights hanging from the ceiling, and faded pictures on the walls. Every step they took made a sound on the wooden floor. The house felt like it was full of old stories waiting to be discovered. Ben's eyes were wide with curiosity. "This place is huge," he said, looking around. "I've always wanted to explore it. Do you think there are hidden rooms or treasures?" Mr. Higgins chuckled. "Well, every old house has its secrets. Just remember to be careful. Some rooms haven't been opened in years." Lily felt a mix of excitement and worry. "We'll be careful, Mr. Higgins. It's just for the summer, after all. How much can happen?" That evening, as they settled into their rooms, the wind picked up, making the windows rattle. The mansion, with all its mysteries, was now their home, even if just for a while. The first night in the Dunbridge mansion was very different. The old house seemed to change when the sun went down. The walls had long shadows, and the house made sounds as it got dark. It was colder inside than they thought, and sometimes a cold wind made them shiver. After they had a simple dinner made by Mr. Higgins, they decided to go to bed early. There was no internet or TV in the house, so they read books until they felt sleepy. Lily's room was big with large windows covered in old curtains. The bed was big and quite soft. As she read her book by the light of a small lamp, she heard soft piano music. At first, she thought she was imagining it, but the music kept playing. She got up and quietly went to her door to listen better. The sad piano music was coming from downstairs. Wanting to see what was happening, she opened her door. Ben was outside his room too. "Do you hear the music?" he asked in a low voice. They went downstairs together, following the sound. It led them to a big room where people once danced. In the middle of the room was a large piano. The strange thing was, the piano keys were moving by themselves, playing the music. They were scared but also wanted to watch. They stood by the door, not making any noise. After a while, the music stopped and the room became quiet again. Lily and Ben looked at each other. "Was that a ghost?" Ben whispered. Lily nodded. "Let's go back to our rooms. It's late." But as they walked back, they felt that the house had many stories to tell, and they had just heard one of them. The morning after they heard the ghostly piano, the mansion was bright with sunlight. The big house looked friendly and warm. After they ate breakfast, which Mr. Higgins made, Lily and Ben wanted to look around the house. They walked into many rooms. Each room had old chairs and tables covered with dusty cloths. It looked like no one had been in these rooms for a very long time. While they were walking, Ben saw a small set of stairs at the end of a hallway. "Where does this go?" he asked, looking excited. Lily thought for a moment and said, "Let's see." They went up the old stairs, which went to the attic. The attic was big and full of old boxes and suitcases. The sun shone through a window, making the dust sparkle. While looking around, Lily found an old book that looked like a diary. She opened it and started to read. The diary was written by a woman named Clara. The diary was very old, and Clara wrote about her life in the mansion a long time ago. She wrote about parties in the mansion and how much she loved to play the piano. Lily read some parts to Ben. They found out about Clara's dreams and about a man she loved who went away. One part of the diary was very interesting. July 15, 1895. "I feel so alone in this big house. I play our special song on the piano every night. I hope he can hear it, wherever he is." Lily and Ben looked at each other. Was Clara the ghost playing the piano? They showed the diary to Mr. Higgins. When he saw it, he looked surprised. He said, "She loved this house. People say she played the piano every night, waiting for her love. But he never came back." When it was night time, Lily and Ben felt closer to the house and its stories. They understood that the mansion was full of old memories. That night, they heard the piano again. But now, they weren't afraid. They listened and thought of Clara playing her special song. After they found Clara's diary, the big house felt even more interesting to Lily and Ben. Each day, they learned more about the people who once lived there. Every morning, they would eat breakfast and talk to Mr. Higgins. He told them many stories about the house. One day, while playing outside in a garden full of pretty flowers, Ben found an old key in the ground. The key looked old and special. He showed it to Lily, and she remembered seeing a locked wooden box in one of the rooms. They went inside the house quickly, their shoes making the floor dirty. They went to the room and found the wooden box. Lily used the key to open it. It worked. Inside the box, they found many old papers with music notes. The papers looked very old. Some had little writings on the side. Maybe notes from Clara. The top paper had a name. Clara's Song. They wanted to play this song. That evening, with help from Mr. Higgins, they played the song on the big piano. As Ben played the music, the house felt quiet and listening. The song was soft and a little sad, but also happy. It felt like the house liked hearing the music. When the music ended, everything was quiet. Lily felt tears in her eyes. "I think we played a song that Clara loved," she said quietly. That night, they didn't hear the ghost piano. Instead, when they slept, they dreamed of Clara. In the dream, she was dancing and looked happy. It felt like the song made the ghost of Clara happy and peaceful. Every day, the big house had new things to show to Lily and Ben. They wanted to look around the garden more. The garden was big with lots of plants, tall trees, and hidden spots. While playing a game of hide and seek, Lily found a stone path covered by green plants and leaves. She followed it and found a quiet spot with a stone bench, a water fountain that didn't work anymore, and an old statue. The statue looked like a young woman playing some music. Ben came over and looked at the statue. "Look here, Lily," he said, pointing at the bottom of the statue. Words were written there. "To our dear Clara, whose songs will always be in Dunbridge." They understood that the statue was for Clara. The garden, which they thought was just for playing, had a special story. They worked together to clean the spot, pulling out weeds and trying to fix the water fountain. The garden looked happier as they cleaned it, like it was saying thank you. When the sun started to go down, they sat on the stone bench, thinking about what they found. It was getting cooler, but they felt warm and happy inside. Lily said softly, "I think Clara liked this place, just like we do now." Ben nodded, feeling happy and calm. Later, they told Mr. Higgins about the statue and the words. He smiled and said, "Clara loved the garden. She came here when she was sad or wanted to think. It's nice that you found it." The day ended with a good feeling. Lily and Ben felt even closer to the big house and its stories. Every day at the big house, Lily and Ben felt more like it was their home. They had learned so much about its past and had many adventures. One evening, when the sky looked pretty with colors of pink and orange, they had an idea. "Let's have dinner in the garden," Lily said. Ben agreed, and they prepared for their outdoor meal. They put down a big blanket, got some sandwiches, fruit, and a small radio to play songs. They also brought some candles to light up the area. Mr. Higgins saw what they were doing and decided to join. He brought some cookies and told them stories from when he was young. As they were eating and talking, the garden began to change. When it got darker, they saw a soft light near the trees. Curious, they went to see where it was coming from. To their surprise, it was from the fountain they had cleaned earlier. The fountain was not only filled with water, but it also had small lights floating on it, looking like tiny stars. Lily, feeling amazed and happy, said, "Look, the garden is showing us it's happy because we took care of it." Just then, the radio started playing a tune they recognized. It was Clara's song. The song filled the air, making everything feel special. They danced and laughed, feeling very happy. Even Mr. Higgins, who was usually very quiet, danced a little and smiled big. The trees seemed to sway with the music, and the whole garden seemed alive. When the song finished, they all sat down on the blanket and looked up. The night sky was full of stars, shining brightly. It felt like they were in a magical place. Ben whispered, "I think Clara would be happy tonight." Lily nodded. "Yes, I really think she's with us now. She's probably glad that we love her garden so much." They talked and laughed for a long time. The night was peaceful, and soon, they all felt tired and sleepy. One by one, they lay down on the blanket, with the gentle sounds of the night around them. They all fell into a deep sleep, dreaming of all the good times they had in the big house and the magical garden.
In the small town of Ravenswood, there was a large, old house on a hill. It was a dark and stormy night. The rain hit the windows hard. Inside the house, there was a big party. Many people were there, talking and laughing. Among them was Detective Emily Thorne, known for her smart thinking. Suddenly, at midnight, there was a loud scream. Mr. Jonathan Blackwell, the owner of the house, was found in his room. He was dead with a knife in his heart. Detective Thorne knew she had to find answers fast. She told everyone they couldn't leave the house. She started asking questions. Many guests had reasons to dislike Mr. Blackwell. There was a business partner, who felt cheated, a jealous cousin, and an unhappy wife. Thorne found a strange, coded note in Blackwell's pocket. This note was very important. It led her to a secret room in the house. In the secret room, Detective Thorne found many old, valuable things. These things were stolen. This showed Mr. Blackwell was involved in bad activities. While she was looking around, the lights went off suddenly. When they came back on, Thorne saw the killer. It was the quiet butler. He was actually a police officer working secretly. He was trying to find proof against Mr. Blackwell. The murder happened by accident, during an argument. Detective Thorne understood the whole story now. She explained everything to the police. The butler, the undercover agent, was not blamed, because it was an accident. Thorne made sure that Mr. Blackwell's illegal activities were stopped. She felt sad for the loss, but knew she had done her job well.
After the eventful night, things became peaceful in Ravenswood. Detective Thorne was seen as a hero. The town people were thankful for her bravery. The big house on the hill stood quiet. But the story of that night was remembered by all. Detective Thorne continued her work, solving problems and helping people. She knew there were always mysteries to solve. The next day was bright and sunny. The scary night seemed like a distant memory. Detective Thorne walked through the town, greeted warmly by the people. She was ready for her next case. She believed in finding the truth, no matter how hard it was. Ravenswood had many stories, and Detective Thorne was there to discover them, one by one.
It was a cold winter night. The first big snow of the year came, with a loud storm. The wind hit the windows of an old house in the fields. This house was very old and broken. Kareem, an old man, lived there. He had been there all his life. He used to have a farm, but now he was too old and sick. Kareem sat in his living room, trying to stay warm. He had a small fire, but it was not very hot. The room was cold. Kareem tried to watch TV, but it did not work, because of the storm. He felt alone and a little scared. Then, the lights went out. "Oh no," Kareem said. He couldn't see well. He wanted to find candles, but he heard a loud noise. It came from the back of the house. He slowly went to the kitchen. The back door was broken, and cold air and snow came in. Kareem was worried, maybe someone was trying to get in. He went to get his old gun. He wanted to be safe. Then he heard another loud noise, this time from the front of the house. He went to the front, and saw the front door was open too. He heard a sad sound outside. Kareem went outside with his gun, thinking he might find a dog. In the snow, he saw a big creature with gray skin. It looked scary. Suddenly, the creature moved towards Kareem. He was very scared. Just then, a dog jumped out of the snow, and stood between Kareem and the creature. The dog barked loudly. It was big and strong. The creature stopped and looked at the dog. Kareem was surprised but happy to see the dog. The dog barked more, and the creature ran away. Kareem was safe. He thanked the dog and took it inside the house. They sat by the fire together. The dog was friendly and stayed close to Kareem. Kareem was no longer alone or scared. He had a new friend who saved him. They were warm and happy in the house, listening to the storm outside.
Four friends, Jack, Mia, Leo, and Sarah, were on a small boat. They were having fun and enjoying the sunny day. Suddenly, dark clouds came, and a big storm started. The sea was very rough, with huge waves. The boat was shaking a lot. They were all very scared. Then, a big wave hit the boat, and they fell into the water. When they woke up, they were on the beach of a strange island. They could not see their boat. The island was pretty but felt scary. They needed to find food, water, and help. While looking around, they saw big strange footprints. "Who made these?" asked Sarah. They followed the footprints. They went into a dark forest. Suddenly, they heard a loud, scary noise. It was like a roar. They saw a big shadow, moving between the trees. It was a monster. The monster was huge and looked very scary. They ran as fast as they could back to the beach. On the beach, they knew they had to leave fast. "Let's make a raft," said Jack. They used wood and long plants to make a small raft. They were scared. The monster might come to the beach. But they worked quickly. When the raft was ready, they pushed it into the water and started to paddle. They could hear the monster making loud noises behind them. After some time, they saw a big ship. They waved their hands and shouted. The ship saw them and came closer. They were saved. The ship took them back home. They were happy to be safe, but they always remembered their scary adventure on the island with the monster.
In the small town of Hilltop, a big old house stood. It was covered in green plants. No one lives there now. The children in the town talked about the house. They told stories and asked each other to look through its dusty windows. They wondered about the secrets it held inside its old walls. They felt both scared and excited. They believed there were hidden treasures inside the house. The old house waited quietly. It kept its secrets. It hoped someone would come in one day to find out about them. One sunny day, Mia was in her garden. She saw something shiny in the flowers. It was an old key. The key was brown and looked very old. Mia felt excited and happy. She thought about the big old house. Could the key open the door of the house? She ran to her friend Tim. She showed him the key. "Look at this old key. Let's go to the old house," she said. Tim looked at the key and felt excited too. They both decided to go to the house and try the key. Holding hands, Mia and Tim went to the big old house. It looked big and dark. They felt a little scared, but also excited. They used the key. The old door opened slowly. Inside the house, it was dark and full of dust. But light from the sun came in through the windows. They could see a table in the middle of the room. On the table, there was a box. They looked at each other and walked towards the table. They wondered what was inside the box. Tim opened the box. Inside the box, there was a shiny stone. The stone was very pretty. Next to the stone, there was a note. Mia read the note. The note said, "Thank you for finding my stone. It is magic. Keep it safe." Mia and Tim looked at each other. They were very surprised. They touched the stone. It felt warm. They felt happy and surprised. They didn't know what to do with the stone. They thought about it and made a decision. Mia said, "Let's give the stone to the museum." Tim agreed with her. "Yes, it is a good idea," he said. They took the box with the stone and went to the museum. The museum manager was very surprised. He was also very happy. He thanked Mia and Tim. He put the stone on display for everyone to see. Mia and Tim felt very proud. They had discovered something special. Everyone in the town came to see the magic stone in the museum. The news spread fast. All the people in Hilltop came to see the magic stone. They hoped it would bring them good luck. The old house was not scary anymore. It was now a part of the town's story. Mia and Tim visited the museum every day. They looked at the stone and remembered their adventure. But after some days, they noticed something. The stone did not look happy. It did not shine anymore. Mia and Tim decided to take the stone back to the old house. They thought it would be happier there. One night, they took the stone from the museum. They went to the old house and put the stone back in the box. The next day, the stone was shiny again. Mia and Tim felt happy. They knew they had done the right thing. They understood that some things are happier when they are in their own home. Now, Mia and Tim visit the old house often. They take care of the house and the stone. The stone is always shiny and warm. Mia and Tim feel happy when they visit the house. They have a special friend, the magic stone. The old house is not lonely anymore. It has Mia, Tim, and the magic stone. It is a happy place now. Mia and Tim have learned that every place and thing has a story and a home where it is happy.